I have here with me Rob Fowler, and we're going to be talking about student finance, which is really complicated, and I know a lot of us go through this. So Robert, can you please tell us what you do at the university?
Okay, I manage the student money advice and rights team within student wellbeing. So it's my team that deal with all elements of contact liaison for students with student finance, with the student loans company.
Yes.
We also deal with university bursaries and discretionary hardship funds as well.
That's really good. So now, my first question is, I know there's more than one loan available, so what kind of loans can you get?
Okay, there are two main loans. There's the tuition fee loan and the maintenance loan. Tuition fee loan, as it says, pays the tuition fees, and that's the loan that's paid direct to the university. And the maintenance loan is the living cost loan that's paid to the student in 3 instalments over the year.
Hopefully for them to pay their rent and food and not going out. So is there any eligibility criteria, for example, income and things like that?
Yeah, for the tuition fee loan, that's completely non-means tested, so there's no assessment of household income, so all students can access the tuition fee loan of £9,250 a year. The maintenance loan is slightly different in that part of it is means tested. So there's a basic amount which is about 45% of the total award, which isn't assessed on household income, but then the rest is based on the household income assessed by student finance.
So if what happens if I've got a disability or an illness, do I get extra on top of that?
There's additional support available through student finance, through disabled students allowance. So if a student has any specific need, to help them, to support them with their course costs, they can do that. It doesn't give the student any extra money direct to them, but it can pay for any support the student needs whilst at university.
And I remember when I applied, it asked me if am I living at home or am I living away from home. Does that also affect the maintenance loan that you get?
It does. The reason why I asked that question is if you're living in the parental home, then there's an expectation that your living costs will be lower.
That's true.
So if you're living in the parental home, the maximum is, certainly for 2018-19, it's about just over £7,000 a year as a maximum. Whereas if you're living away from the parental home, so in university accommodation, for example, it's somewhere nearer about £9,000 a year. So there's a premium for living away from home.
That's okay. So how do I receive my loan? So how do I receive my tuition loan?
Okay. Tuition fee loan is never received by the student. That's paid direct to the university.
To the university,
So if you apply for your tuition fee loan and you get that, then just over the academic year, the student loans company will pay that to the university.
Straight to university.
But from a student's point of view, what that means is, from the point of view of when you enrol, at the point of enrolment, your fees are paid.
That's true.
Regardless of how much money has been transferred to the university, your fees are
paid.
Showing as paid in full.
No worries.
Yeah, and the maintenance loan, as you'll know, it's paid in 3 instalments over the academic year. So hopefully the first instalment gets paid in September.
Yes, it is.
Although sometimes there are delays.
That's true.
Second instalment is normally between the 2nd and the 4th of January. And then the third instalment normally second week of April.
Yes. And so how does the repayment system work? So I finished my degree, and how do I then pay back my loan?
Okay. All repayments are based on the total amount that you borrow throughout your studies. So the total amount of tuition fee loan and the total amount of maintenance loan are put together into one number. It's often quite a big number. And you pay that back based on your future income over a period of 30 years. So, but your income has to be over £25,000 before you make any payments.
So
it doesn't matter when you complete. Your payments don't start until you're earning over £25,000.
And if I lose my job for some reason and it goes below, I don't have to pay.
Absolutely, you're only making payments on a monthly basis. Whilst you're working, whilst you're earning over £25,000. It may be if your income is drops a little bit during an academic year, during a working year, that your payments will stop. If your income increases, then your repayments may increase as well.
Just like every loan, there's interest. So is there interest on the student loan?
There's interest on all student loans, so maintenance loan and tuition fee loan, and the interest is charged from the day that you receive the money. And it's the interest is charged. It's the rate of inflation plus up to 3%. So it depends what the rate of inflation is. For many years it was very, very close to zero. So the interest rate as a maximum was about 3%.
3%, yes.
If you're not working, then you only pay the basic rate of inflation as interest. The more you earn and the higher your repayments, then the interest rate can increase, but
yes.
only to a maximum of the 3%,
Of the 3%.
over the rate of inflation.
Okay. So now, what happens if I change courses? So I'm doing forensic science, but then I find it's absolutely boring. There's a lot of writing, and I want to move to occupational therapy, for example. What happens to
so from a funding point of view?
From a funding point of view, yes.
Now, all undergraduate courses are funded at a rate of the length of the course plus 1 year.
Yes.
So a 3-year course has 4 years funding available.
Okay.
A 4-year course has 5 years funding available. So if you start on one course in the first year, it's not the course for you, and you transfer to a new course the next year. So even if you're going from first year to first year, you've still got that extra year that you can use. So it's called a gift year because it allows you the opportunity to have a year of repeat study, or to change course, or to have a false start. If it's the wrong course or the wrong time, it just gives you that extra year.
Thank God for the gift year. Yes. So what happens if I don't want to complete my degree? Let's say I'm in my second year, not September, around January time. I'm fed up, it's too much work. I just prefer to go home, sit and watch Netflix. So do I still have to pay back my loan, my 4 years loan, or just up to September?
You only ever pay back based on what you've borrowed. So if you complete 2 years at university, you pay. Then you borrow 2 years of tuition fee loan, maintenance loan. If your circumstances change and you withdraw partway through a year and you've only received 2 of your instalments of maintenance loan and you never receive the third one, then you'll never have to pay that back. And again, with repayments, if you've had a change of circumstances and you stop studying, even if it's for only maybe 6 months or a year or something like that, just because of your circumstances, you will only ever make payments if you go on to earn over the threshold of £25,000.
That's all right. So I'm fed up of Netflix now. I feel like I need to get my life together and I want to go back to university. What happens then? So if I want to come back to university and I've already been, what happens to my loan in that situation?
A lot of it can dependent on the number of years funding that you've had and the number of years funding that you've got left. So if you've done the first 2 years, and then you have a break from study for say 6, 12, 18 months, and then you come back. If you're coming back into stage 3 because you've completed the first 2, that's fine. Your gift year is still in place, so you've still got that gift year as well. If you do your first year and your second year, and then you come back in your second year, then that's the gift year. So that gives you that safety net. The only time that students sometimes have an issue with their funding is if they've completed 2 years, and then they come back to do a different course starting in the first year. Because from a calculation of funding, if on a 3-year course there's 4 years funding, if they've already had 2 years, there's only 2 years left. And that will be the final year and the second year.
That's all right. So for me to get this right, so if I have dropped out or not wanting to do it for 2 years and I want to come back, and if I come back to do the same course, I still have 2 years funding, so I'm okay. But then if I want to come back and I'm doing a totally different course, starting from year 1, then I've only got 2 years funding, and then the other year I have to fund myself.
I mean, it's not necessarily dependent on the course or changing course. It's down to the academic year. So if you've had 2 years funding and you come back to do a 3-year course with only 2 years funding, then you won't have any funding for the first year. Now, when we say no funding, it's not absolutely no funding.
That's true.
They will still give you a maintenance loan, so you can still get a maintenance loan for your living costs, but they won't give you a tuition fee loan. And again, there are exceptions to that. So if you're arriving after 2 years into the first year, if you withdrew from university the last time because of illness or disability, then you can apply for what they call compelling personal reasons. So if you can provide medical evidence to student finance to say, look, the reason why I had to drop out of my last course was because of illness, or if you can provide medical evidence, then they can award you that gift year back. So it's not all lost on the gift year. You can receive the gift year more than once. If you're going to apply present the appropriate evidence.
So does that change if I'm doing a foundation year? So if I'm doing a foundation year, how many years loan do I get?
It's exactly the same calculation. So a 3-year degree has 4 years funding. If it's got a foundation year, then it's a 4-year degree, and that has 5 years funding. So exactly the same calculation, exactly the same rules apply.
So I still get my extras years
Yep, still get
funding,
your
even
extra
with the foundation
Yep,
year.
absolutely.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
So if I fail a year, let's say it's not because I'm wanting to leave or for medical reasons, I
Yeah.
just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Am I still able to get my my extra year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
good.
The gift year is always there. You know, the only trouble that students sometimes have is,
Yes.
if they've used the gift year
Yes.
and they need to access a second gift year.
Okay.
But there isn't always a second
No,
gift
there
year.
isn't. Okay. Once I'm earning over 25,000,
Yeah.
roughly how much would the monthly payments be?
Okay. It's a very simple calculation, really.
Yes.
You pay back 9% of your income over the threshold.
Okay.
So for every pound you are over
Yes.
the £25,000 threshold, you pay 9%.
Okay.
Now that equals, or that equates to,
Yes.
£7.50 a month for every £1,000.
Oh, okay.
So below £25,000 you pay nothing.
You don't pay nothing.
If you're earning £26,000,
Yes.
that's £1,000 over the threshold.
Yes, it is.
And that's £7.50
Yes.
a month that you repay.
Mhm.
If you're earning £30,000, that's £5,000 over the
£5,000.
threshold, and that's £37.50
Yes.
a
Okay.
month.
So that's not
So
bad.
and you pay that back through the tax system.
Yes.
So you'll pay your income tax, you'll pay your national insurance,
Yep.
you'll pay your student loan.
Yeah, so it's all taken out
all
before your
taken
check
out.
even comes back
That's
in.
right, that's right.
We were talking about this
We
earlier,
were.
and it was because being self-employed is
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
in the tax system. You have to do a self-assessment tax, so you have to send in your papers yourself. How does that affect the student loan?
Okay. The majority of students who go on to work and make repayments will pay it back through the pay-as-you-earn system, through
Yep.
the tax system. The exceptions to that, like you say, are students who are self-employed
Yes.
or who work overseas.
Yes.
So don't pay through the UK tax system.
Mhm.
Under those circumstances, you just need to contact Student Finance
Okay.
at the time and have the conversation with them, and they will set up a payment plan with you
Yes.
based on your income. You'll just need to submit your accounts or
Your
evidence of
accounts, yes, you
of
do.
your income to them,
Mm-hmm.
and then they will arrange the payment, like a manual payment from you to them.
From you to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only time when you have to pay. And please pay your student finance because it's not going to go away.
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, it will after 30 years.
Going over through everything we've gone through again.
Okay.
So if I can change courses
Yeah.
and I can still get a loan
Mhm.
as long as it's within the thresholds. If it's a 3-year course,
Yeah.
I can get 4 years funding.
Yeah.
If it's a 4 years course, I can
Yeah.
get 5 years funding.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
fine.
again, it doesn't matter what the course is.
Yep.
And like you say, if you start in the first year on one course, and
Mhm.
at the time that was the course for you, that was absolutely where you saw yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But once you arrive and you start studying, and I suppose you're speaking with people that are doing other courses,
Yes.
and you're experiencing other things, and you think, well, hang on, this course I've
This
started
ain't for
isn't
me.
really the course that I want to be on.
Mhm.
So at that stage, it's important to remember that you do have options.
Yes.
There are opportunities to change that. Just because you start on a 3-year degree, it doesn't mean that that's the degree that you
That's
have
true.
to complete.
Yes.
So, and this is where the universities come into it, and this is where the academics come in. So, if you're on your course and it genuinely isn't the right course for you, it might be that you want to have a conversation with family,
Yes.
with course leaders, with friends about
Yes,
what your
about-
options are. But you've always got an opportunity to transfer. If it's a very similar course, then it
Yes.
might be that you can transfer from first year to the second
To
year
the
of a different
second year.
course if they've got very similar shared modules.
Yep.
But even if you go from first year of one course to the first year of
First
another
year of
course,
another
you've
course.
always got that false
Yes, you
start.
do,
Always
yes.
got the gift year in place.
So whereabouts are you at the university so that any students can come and speak to you guys
Okay.
after this?
Yeah, well, my team were based on the ground floor of B block. That's
Yes.
where we're based as an admin office.
Is
But to contact us, we're contactable via the Student Wellbeing Centre
Mhm.
in T block, or via the Student Centre in the atrium.
In the atrium as well.
We have appointments,
Yep.
so you can come and see us any day of the week if we've got appointments available.
Yep.
We have a helpline twice a day. We also have email contact throughout the day as well.
Yes.
So it's the Student Money Advice and Rights team. Email is smart@derby.ac.uk. So email us any
Yep.
questions at any time.
So that's smart@derby.ac.uk.
Absolutely,
So if
yeah.
any questions, any inquiries,
Yeah.
if you're having a problem with your student loan
Yeah.
or maintenance loan, anything like that, please can you contact them?
Yeah.
B block in T block
Yeah.
and via email.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Rob,
You're
for
welcome.
speaking to me today. I think I've learnt quite a lot about
Good.
student finance.
Good.
Yeah, thank you so much.